Purdue shot A. Ha ha ha. It's gonna be a good one tonight. We're gonna do little reaction time. Little reaction time. Let's see what's going on out there. Okay, let's see if I can get Hawk Tour. That's what I say to you, buddy. We like it though, we like it. Hello, hello, hello. Feel like I'm all, it's getting warm in here. Ooh. Let's see some, see what's going on. Live stream fails first. See what this fat boy has to say. Gosh dang. 69.
A lot of nights with young girls
Oh,
around him, which, whatever, man. If that's your...
bro. What am I editing? Not editing anything. I just spent 2 hours editing. Oh, what is my editing software? I use DaVinci, the free one. And I'm really bad at it. But it's free. So you can't really complain about free software. Bad Blitz Gaming. CapCut, that's free too. Yeah, but that's not like a legit. That's not like as legit. That's like on your phone, isn't it? CapCut's on your phone. It's not. DaVinci's like a desktop, full-blown. What's the Adobe or what's the? It's like a legit, full-on. I don't know. I guess I just like to torture myself and use and use the complicated DaVinci. I probably should use CapCut because it probably makes the shorts easier than the way I do it. Do you have any games? Do you play? Do you have any videos on your channel? Are we gonna visit your channel? Bed Blitz Gaming. 38 subscribers, man, you're killing it. $15 seconds? 9? 18? Those are all shorts. Sigma wanna band edit. I feel like the music's not loud enough. Either that or I'm playing this. This is in the background. I'm playing. You got 8 likes. Just more likes than I normally get. I can't hate on that.
Santo cielo, è saltata sul tavolo gridando il formaggio è di.
I gotta turn it up.
Mentre il nonno suonava il mandolino con gli spaghetti crudi. Poi boom, la fontana del gelato esplosa in coriandoli di parmigiano e tutti.
You know, I don't speak Italian. That's the other issue I'm getting here. Let's see, what's your most viewed one? 7,000 views, man. I don't even have. I got nowhere close to 7,000 views. What is this, bro? Roblox. How? Okay, if we're being honest, let's be honest with ourselves. Oh, that was a timed run or something? I guess so, but comparing that, that having 7,000 views compared to one of these, the Orange Man one was pretty funny. That should have more views than that. No, this is what I want to do. I want to watch people's stuff. Gives me inspiration.
Patrick. What? I thought of something funnier than 24. Let me hear it. 25. Patrick.
I was never a SpongeBob kid, so I can't.
Funnier than 24.
I can't relate. I do like trucks, though. Let's see. I like it. Oh, that's good. I'm not signed in here, but I'd subscribe if I was. That's too good. You have any longer videos? Gotta say, your longer videos aren't doing as good. You got 47. Gotta be honest, longer videos are harder to, man, I struggle. I'm just starting out, but it's a struggle bus. You get there. You'll get there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Jewel Thief. Let's go back. We'll do some more reactions.
Think that's your thing, but like it just felt like so. This con felt so fucking weird, man. Whatever. Like
You can go to my channel, see what my likes are. Yeah, I have the most views is like 1,800 views. So you're already. I would stick to the Roblox. Do like more Roblox challenges and spend some time. Put some time into those edits. I think I don't play Roblox, but that seems to be your go-to. You've already cracked the case.
I mean, last year I told myself I don't like TwitchCon, and so many people were like, "Why do you like TwitchCon?" And I'm like, "Well, how long do you have?" But even more problems end up popping up, and really, I think that this
I gotta
is
get my chat on screen.
I
don't know how to do that.
People
I don't even know how to do that.
The attendance this year was terrible.
Wait, there's Dan Clancy. Show me Dan Clancy again.
No.
Tell Dan Clancy we said what's.
There's no way. Wait, Dan Clancy, do you know who I am? Wait, let me ask. That's literally him. Wait, Dan.
Okay, that's cringy. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. 97. Oh, 9,000. That was from a while ago, too. That was... I'm thinking about getting back into Minecraft. Because that was a Minecraft video. My most viewed video is 9,700. You scared me with the 97,000. That would have been freaking cool. But yeah, 9,700 wasn't bad, but that's the Minecraft videos, which I kind of stopped doing. Kind of got, I don't know, I'm trying to do things that are more me, I guess, just kind of hanging out. And I do want to get back into playing Minecraft, though. It's just, it definitely brings the crowds. You got to play those games. I think when you start out, you got to play those games that are niches and have a following already. Because just talking like this and reacting to videos and stuff it's probably not gonna cut the cheese. Like I've already played Portal 2. I've played the walking game, the one that just came out, and another game, but there's like no following for that game. So if I liked Roblox, I'd play that. I'm sure I'd get a ton of views. How about I'd probably get 3 instead of 1 viewer. It's all good though. We're an all-inclusive community.
Oh, remember her?
They want pictures. They're dead.
It's with Deaf Girl.
Oh, you remember her from
He met last year in
year?
Thailand during South Asia.
Remember? From last year. How's it been? Oh my God. Y'all remember when I met her in Thailand last year? What you been doing?
Relax, Mama. Relax.
Have you been
Hey, no
alright?
problem, man.
I am deaf. Please follow sign
Subscribe,
language. I
follow,
love deaf people
Come hang out
in the
anytime.
world. You love deaf people? Yes. Okay, me? Huh? Yeah.
Miha, who?
Going to use to potentially put pressure on.
Sorry, what's that? The Shay. Yeah. The Shay Frost? Yeah. That's me. Nice to meet you.
We'll put you right in.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm just gonna walk you down to number 8.
Okay. There's already a crowd waiting for me?
I believe so.
Cool.
That way or
My guy
Okay,
just
thank you.
just shaved
All right,
Frost.
we can start whenever you're ready. Okay. Let's go.
That's crazy.
Make an announcement. We found the guy who said my mom's kind of homeless. And we will be doing a stream this week confronting him. And hopefully he gives updates about his life. So we did find him. We will do a Fortnite stream this week.
Nice.
Stop sleeping. Back the fuck up.
Maybe a little more.
Reclaim.
Money?
Maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more?
Why not?
Guns. Guns are now a sight worse than you ever knew. Bigger, louder, smarter, but also, in a way, much stupider.
Huh, I see. Will guns be a common threat?
In America? Yeah.
Nice.
Our accent and English
Are you Anna
pretty
Frank?
similar.
Is she Anna?
Shut the fuck up, bitch. Dang.
Crush the crowd.
You were talking about the homeless.
No, these are fails. These ain't no fails.
Officials say all leads remain open after Sunday's robbery of crown jewels in the Paris Louvre Museum.
We the
as they examine a
boys.
vest and other equipment left behind at the scene. Meanwhile, new video appears to show a suspect calmly breaking into a glass display.
He's got the vest on though. He's being safe. He's wearing his
Let's bring in former
PPE.
FBI special agent and the founder of the FBI's National Crime Team, Robert Whitman. Robert, what are your thoughts about how this was done besides the national embarrassment that France is feeling right now?
Yo, get France out of here. Yeah. Get France
Good morning, Brian. Thanks for having
out
me.
of here.
It was a heinous crime, a very audacious. The fact that it happened at 9:30 in the morning when the museum was open on Sunday morning, the fact that these guys were wearing these.
I would disagree. I don't think it's a heinous crime, perchance. I would say it's more of a crime of opportunity. They didn't hurt anybody, I don't think. I mean, it's jewels that were from a time long gone. It's really just an insurance problem at this point. It's not like, I don't know, they didn't like hurt anybody. It's just kind of like a story to a movie. I don't know.
high visibility yellow vests to make themselves look like they were workers at the museum. All of that played together to allow them to get into that the museum and do what they were doing.
See, everybody's just standing at both entrances. It seems weird.
It was well thought out. I think there was a lot of planning that went in. They had to get equipment for this heist, but ultimately the execution wasn't all that great. Basically, Brian, if you're going to commit a crime, the only way to get away with it is by, one, doing it by yourself, two, telling no one what happened, and three, leaving no evidence. If you do that, it's very tough to catch people. In this case, they did all the opposites. There was 4 guys involved, possibly 3.
Yeah, but if you have a tight-knit bond, you gotta have that bond of brotherly love, and you split it equally,
4 guys involved. They left a lot of forensic evidence, all that material left behind. And I'm guaranteeing you, because of the way they did this, they're telling people that they did it, and they're bragging.
Really?
So
this guy is a little too confident. I think he's giving the French a little too much credit. I think their mouths are.
Ultimately, I have faith that they're going to get caught.
So,
I disagree. From what I can tell, I disagree.
The scooters or motorcycles, whatever it is. It's a mystery. Evidently, there's a Regent diamond there worth $60 million. They could have grabbed that too, yet they were specific on what they wanted, and they got 7 of the 8 things they were targeting. What does that tell you anything as an investigator?
Well, it tells me that.
See, look at that balcony. That's some good architecture right there. First of all, I mean, let's just get that right out of the way. The French know a thing or two about architecture. Look at that balcony. That's prime grappling hook area. Let's stand down there, middle of the night, throw your grappling hook up, scale the wall. I mean,
they didn't have time to get to the Regent diamond. They were usually in these cases. It's speed. It's very much all about speed. And I've had cases where individuals went in, stole paintings from museums and jewelry and things of that nature, and they try to get in and out as quickly as possible because they don't want to get caught, by the police responding. The alarms did go off, and there was a response from the museum security personnel. So it wasn't like nothing happened, and they had to get out very quickly. That's why they dropped one of the crowns, the crown of Eugenie, which was the wife of Napoleon III. They actually dropped it on the ground and damaged it, so they couldn't take it with them.
So, quick question.
And that shows that they were in a big hurry.
Security on the scene. They get there and they want to protect the museum goers instead of going after the jewel thieves. Was that a smart move?
Well, that's what they're trained to do. Museum security individuals.
Weak sauce. If I'm a security guard and I see some fellas thieving, that's my opportunity. That's my time to shine. That's what I train. That's what I, como se dice? Yeah. That's what the blood gets going. That's when you're,
are trained to really, protect life. Property is one thing, and property is valuable, and it has a financial value to it and a historical value, but people's lives are most important. So no property is worth someone's life. So and in this case, like this, they did the right thing.
So Robert, if someone's going to case the place, they might be on some video footage of cameras that might be in there. Who came over and over again, day after day, to check it out? Who rented the big basket crane that they used? Who rented the, I remember the 93 bombing, they found out who rented the truck, and that's how they were able to find those guys.
Steal the truck, my guys. Also, I don't condone any of this. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm just a commonsensical type of guy, okay?
Does this mean anything to you? There's been a rash of high-end jewelry heists from museums in Germany, Netherlands, and the Natural History Museum in Paris recently. Do you think that there could be a connection worth exploiting there?
Exploiting? or exploring? I think I would have said exploring, but I think exploiting kind of makes sense because you could exploit the data you got from. Yeah, okay.
I think the Natural History Museum heist could be a connection. And the reason for that is because a lot of the MO, the modus operandi, was similar to this heist. So I would definitely be looking at that. But you're absolutely right. All of this equipment and material that they used, somehow it was bought or rented. I had a case I worked on in Milwaukee involving a Stradivarius violin that was stolen from the concertmaster of the symphony. And interestingly enough, they used a taser when they stole it. So we were able to crack that case by finding out who had bought tasers in that area in the months before the heist. So as a result, it showed us who actually was involved. So this is the same thing. All this material is coming from somewhere. Somebody bought those cutters, and we're going to find out who.
And lastly, do you think we're going to get the guys?
I really do. There's a, you know, at the FBI, I used.
I disagree. I disagree. I'm a marshmallow, but I disagree. And I could give my explanation as to why, but it's just a feeling. It's just something intelligent people have that they can just exploit.
I worked with the French police quite often, and there's a group in Paris called the BRB, and that's the
Be right back.
Brigade Against Bandits, and they're
my bad.
They're professionals. They're very good at what they do, and what's even more interesting is they've got tendrils all through Paris of informants,
tentacles,
criminals that talk to them, and there's those investigators. They have their thumb on the information in Paris. So I think that it's a good possibility that people will be talking.
Robert Whitman, always interesting. Thanks so much.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian.
I'm Steve Dookie. I don't think those jewels are getting found. Let's be honest here. I just don't see that happening.
A sprawling international manhunt underway this morning after thieves took priceless jewels from the Louvre Museum in Paris. The heist took just 7 minutes. Investigators say they used an angle grinder and a blowtorch to get inside the ornate Apollo gallery, and then they took off with 8 pieces of jewelry.
So
they
it
dropped
was.
the 9th piece during
So
their
it could be. It could be called a blowjob. I mean, you could call it that. You could call it that.
And this morning, there's real concern the jewels might never be recovered.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Outside the Louvre this morning, I gotta say, I mean, an uproar in Paris over this.
Oh, there is. I mean, such huge security breaches. The idea that these 4 men, we understand that they're looking for, could have broken into the room housing France's crown jewels, John, making off with such treasures of inestimable value. That's what French authorities are saying. This isn't so much about the price of the gems involved or the gold, although that would be considerable if it was all melted down and sold. It is that these are priceless objects when it comes to France's cultural heritage. You're talking about the crowns, the tiaras, the brooches, the earrings, the necklaces worn by the queens of France in the 19th century. So yeah, there's a great deal of outrage this morning in the French press. Many newspapers describing it as the heist of the century. So brazen was it, so quick was it, so efficient.
Gotta be quick with it. Gotta be quick with it, as they say. Ha ha. Ha ha. Gotta be quick with it. Ha 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 ha. Gotta be quick with it. Oh my goodness. That's inappropriate. Oh gosh.
and I look younger than you. You're only about 45 fucking years old. Guys, have some respect. You're only about
Sir. Just saying that over and over is not gonna do anything. I don't want to watch this. It's gross. People don't want to stop showing up. Get rid of that. Send feedback. Cable copper thieves hit AT&T underground vault. Demolition Derby.
You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. When I hear that sound, it reminds me of money. In this case, it reminds me of lack of money because I'm paying for it.
That was President Trump today speaking about the newly started construction at the White House East Wing. A demolition is underway to make space for a large ballroom. CBS News has learned some sections of the East Wing built in 1902 and 1942 are being torn down. That includes the First Lady's office, the Office of Legislative Affairs, and the White House Military Office. The administration announced plans for the new ballroom
such
in
a big
July.
building.
It will be 90,000 square feet and have room for 650 people. It's also
nice,
being paid
though. Oh
for
my
by
gosh.
private donors
Look
and
at the
President
windows.
Trump himself.
The windows
Douglas
are
Brinkman
great.
joins us now. He's a U.S. presidential historian and professor of history at Rice University. Thank you for being here. When you see that video, is something like this unprecedented?
Well, seeing a demolition derby on the east wing of the White
Okay. Demolition Derby, my guy. Have you ever been to a demolition derby? That involves cars and buses and vehicles of all sorts, actually. What you see here is merely demolition. You see, when you talk about the birds and the bees, you connect one building with the other, and therefore the original building has to have a connection point. They are merely making that connection point, and if you saw the rendering of that ballroom, that I think it'll be an upgrade. Let's just keep
House
going.
is certainly unprecedented. Renovation, of course, is not. Most famously, Theodore Roosevelt, who dubbed it the White House in the East Wing in 1902. And then you have by the 1940s, Harry Truman, Bess Truman had to leave the White House for 4 years to get renovations done. Stayed in Blair House across the way. But those were because of, for example, of Truman, because of disrepair. What we're feeling now is this is about President Trump's gilded, a love of gold and, the Trump Tower in Mar-a-Lago. It doesn't feel like a historic renovation. Feels like a wrecking ball to build.
He's building. That's what I don't understand about someone like this. It's like he's building something new, and in 100 years from now, it will be as a quintessential part of the White House. Like he's acting like this is something that's like gonna be slapped on there. It just doesn't make any sense.
A larger and larger ballroom that was supposed to be about 600 people, and now it could be 900 people. And so it's sort of sad for a professional historian like myself to see those gaping.
Gosh, I cannot stand most historians. Like, they will hold up projects. They will hold up projects for like years because of some historical value. In like most cases, it means nothing. Obviously, this is the White House, but like, the White House was built on, the White House was burnt down. When do you think they made the East Wing and the other wing and it's just ridiculous.
Images of our people's house, the White House, not only being renovated in such a haphazard way, I don't care if it's private funded or not, but.
Explain what you mean by haphazard, because if you want them to be out there with toothpicks I mean, what are we talking here?
The American people weren't brought in, and more importantly, the National Capital Planning Commission wasn't properly brought in to do renovations of our great White House in a proper fashion.
So we mentioned that President Trump says that this is needed. The White House is in need of a grand ballroom. Where does the White House right now host big events?
Well, look, if you would walk in, what President Trump's objected to was that feeling of the canopy tent, and it could be colder, it could be rainy, and he wanted something more palatial, something that had a feel of, you know, he's visiting world leaders like Vladimir Putin, or he's going to Qatar, and he's impressed by all of that. He doesn't understand the fact of our frontier democracy, our humility, our law and order of our Constitution, that you ask the American public about the renovations and share that with us. Instead, we're in the middle of a government shutdown. Nobody's talking to each other. And you're seeing a kind of, you know, Trump's gold vision.
It's like my guy hasn't driven around.
In a White House.
It's like he hasn't driven around the DC area. Have you seen some of the buildings that they have there? Like, you want to talk about DC architecture is phenomenal. Like, but those buildings are ginormous, and
house that he is simply sitting there as the custodian of. It's not his home, it belongs to the American people. And you don't want to get it like we're doing it so much that a Democrat president gets in and they change it back, and then Trumpian comes in and they go back to gold, back and forth. It seems to me the dialogue with the American people was missing, and it seems to not have been properly vetted by Society of Architects or by the National Capital Planning Commission like it should have been.
All right, Douglas Brinkley, thank you.
Jeez, talk about an opinionated guy.
Thomas Anderson?
Get out of here. Washington, D.C. Look at some of these buildings, though. That looked like a good video, but see, I mean, it's just so ginormous. Unbuilt monuments? See, they build all kinds of monuments all the time. This actually kind of looks like a good video.
Memorials. Often built of stone and in styles that harken back to the ancient world, they give an impression of permanence, and in many cases have become so iconic that it's hard to imagine anything else standing in their place. But for every monument that was built in the capital of the United States, there were a myriad of alternative design proposals, and some memorials never ended up seeing the light of day at all. Here are a couple of examples of the Washington that could have been. The monument to George Washington towers above the city that bears his name, but the structure we see today is only part of what was intended to be built. The original design was the winning entry into a competition held in 1836 by a private society. Created by architect Robert Mills, it called for a 600-foot Egyptian-style obelisk ringed by a temple-like structure at the bottom, featuring 30 columns, one for each state in the Union.
Yeah, it doesn't look anything like that.
Construction, according to this, in 1848, but the project turned out to be too expensive. To cut costs, the temple structure
let's just
at the
do the
base
pyramid.
had to be put aside, but the society's collected donations still fell short, and in 1854 work was halted altogether. The structure had only been finished 1/3 of the way up, and it would remain like this until after the Civil War, when Congress assumed responsibility for its funding.
Wow.
In 1884, the Washington Monument finally stood finished, and although somewhat shorter than originally intended, it was still the tallest building in the world until...
Really? In the world? Gosh, I remember when we used to be cool back in the day. Have the tallest buildings. Now we have building codes that are up the wazoo. It's crazy it was supposed to be taller than that, though.
The end of that decade, when it was surpassed by the Eiffel
Look how
Tower.
empty it is around here, too. There's no cities. It's not built up at all.
This was far from the first plan to build a monument to Washington, though, and already in 1799, this proposal for a pyramid-shaped structure was made by Benjamin Latrobe. There were also a number of alternate ways in which Robert Mill's plan could have been finished. In 1877, Henry Searle created a more elaborate design with 3 terraces at the bottom, whereas the sculptor Vinnie Ream proposed simply using the unfinished obelisk as the base for a grand sculpture of the president.
That'd be kind of cool, like a giant
Other
statue
designs
of
would
him.
have turned it into something.
That's so freaking cool. Talk about overkill. Oh my gosh. Get this man a job. That is so cool. Oh my gosh.
Completely unrecognizable, like this one from 1879, which would have converted the obelisk into a Gothic tower, or this extremely grand and ornate design.
Oh, that's kind of... I like that less, but that's still really cool. Memorial Bridge.
The Potomac River is the defining natural feature of Washington, D.C., and over time, numerous proposals have been made for a monumental bridge crossing it. The most audacious of these designs was put forward in 1887 by the architectural firm Smithmire and Peltz. Their bridge gave the impression of a medieval...
Now that's a nice looking bridge. We don't have... I mean, we don't have bridges like that. And talk about being a monument.
fortress and included 2 massive towers in the middle, as well as a number of turrets, all elaborately decorated in the Romanesque style.
Nice.
The structure would connect the city with the Arlington National Cemetery, the burial place of thousands of Union soldiers, and was to serve as a memorial to the Civil War general and president Ulysses S. Grant. This was actually Smithmire and Peltz's second proposal, the first one being a bit more modest, but neither of them were ever built.
Dang.
By 1901, the idea of dedicating the bridge to Grant had been abandoned, and a new design by Edward P. Casey and William H. Burr was adopted.
Why?
But
why didn't they want to dedicate it to Grant?
Building it fizzled out. Then, in the 1920s, yet another design was made by McKim, Mead and White, and this time the project actually got off the ground. In 1932, the Arlington...
That is so lame. Are you seeing this? Oh my god.
Memorial Bridge stood finished, uniting both physically and symbolically the North and South.
Ah, that is
Built
disappointing.
in a discreet neoclassical style, the final product lacks towers that could obstruct views, and complements the other memorials of the city.
Views, the bridge would have been its own view. Silly goose. I've never seen the Lincoln
Constructed
Memorial.
between 1914 and 1922, the Lincoln Memorial stands on the banks of the Potomac and terminates the National Mall to the west. Designed by Henry Bacon in the shape of a neoclassical temple, it has become one of the most popular works of architecture in the entire United States.
I love the pillars.
But it may well have been built on a completely different location and by a different architect. The commission tasked with finding a design for the building had also invited the architect John Russell Pope to put forward some proposals. Like many others, Pope was not a big fan of the swampy site where the monument now stands, and focused his attention on 2 alternatives. One of his proposals would have placed the monument on Meridian Hill and
It's so crazy how much we've been built up, even in the last 100 years.
featured a 100-foot wide staircase leading up to a Greek-inspired temple.
Wow,
overlooking
that's
the
so
city.
sick. That's a lot of stairs, though.
Another was located on the grounds of the Soldiers' Home in Northeast Washington, where Lincoln drafted the Emancipation Proclamation. This version consisted of a round structure with columns encircling a statue of Lincoln. He was
Lincoln
also
was such
asked
a
to
cool
submit
guy.
designs for the site by the river, and perhaps in a last-ditch effort to discourage its use, he put forward a series of radical designs. Two of them took inspiration from the ziggurats of ancient Mesopotamia, one being square and the other being circular. Another one was shaped like an Egyptian pyramid with classical porticos on each side, and continuing the pyramid theme, he also made a Mayan-inspired design with a large flame burning at its top.
That would be cool.
Henry Bacon also made designs that ended up being scrapped, like this monumental colonnade with a statue of Lincoln in front of it.
Gosh, he used to be so creative. Yeah, you want to talk about spending money. These are, granted, it's a memorial, so Lincoln was already dead, so it's not like he's doing it himself, but talk about grandeur, oh my gosh.
The newest memorial in Washington, D.C. is dedicated to Dwight D. Eisenhower and was finished in 2020.
Oh wow.
Designed by Frank Gehry, it consists of a 4-acre urban park at the base of Capitol Hill and features a number of pieces telling the story of his life. Originally selected all the way back in 2009, Gehry's design quickly became the subject of controversy and underwent a long series of alterations until construction could finally begin in 2017. During this time, one of the design's main critics, the National Civic Art Society, organized a competition to create counter-proposals in a classical style. The winning entry by Daniel Cook featured a triumphal
oh my god, that's so much better. What are you doing?
arch, which was intended not as an arch celebrating the victory of a conqueror, but rather an arch of peace. Two statues of Eisenhower show his transition from general to president and citizen, and evokes memories of Washington, who laid aside his power and returned to his farm when his work was done. The second place design continues the theme of the arch and connects it with semicircular colonnades surrounding a figure of Eisenhower.
It's not big enough though. Lincoln, I mean, it's not
Third place was a tie between this design featuring
not
two
as good
statues
as
of Eisenhower with a long colonnade
Lincoln,
between them,
so I guess it doesn't have to
and
be
one
huge.
that would have integrated the memorial in a dense urban fabric, with a plaza and square surrounded by both mixed-use residential and office buildings, as well as things like an Eisenhower Memorial Hall and a memorial column. Commendations were also given to this entry inspired by Nelson's column in Trafalgar Square, and this one inspired by the stripped-down classicism of the New Deal era.
The one that shows is kind of lame.
Lastly, I'd like to briefly go over two unbuilt memorials that I unfortunately couldn't find many good illustrations of. The first one was a 1920s project to build a mother's memorial near the Naval Observatory on Massachusetts Avenue. It was spearheaded by Daisy Calhoun, the founder of a now defunct women's rights group called the Women's Universal Alliance. Designed by Joseph Geddes, it would have consisted of a large tower reminiscent of the Art Deco skyscrapers that were being built at the time, and would have served as an acropolis to the womanhood of all lands. Had it been built, the memorial would have been a dominant part of the skyline, but it faced opposition from the US Commission of Fine Arts and also failed to gather enough funds. Around the same time, there was also talk of creating a memorial to Theodore Roosevelt. In 1925, John Russell Pope proposed a 200-foot tall fountain, surrounded by concentric pools and bracketed by two curving colonnades. The memorial was to be constructed on the southern banks of the Potomac River tidal basin, seen in the lower right corner of this image, but many thought that it was still too soon to build a memorial to Roosevelt, who had only died in 1920, and the site was instead chosen for a memorial to Thomas Jefferson, which was also designed by Pope and stood completed in 1943.
Good choice. It's crazy these founding fathers were real people. I mean, what great people they were. Wow. Unreal. I like him as an actor.
People were just focused on, you know, the ideas that he was spewing. And it wasn't even just ideas. It was just, you know, stating the obvious and pointing out a lot of things that Democrats may have been ignoring, like the border, you know, like the economy. He said it himself, man, we won on one word, groceries.
That was from my conversation with Charlemagne the God for this week's episode of the Best People podcast. Donald Trump won on one word, the groceries.
Charlemagne the God is such a crazy name.
Catapulted Donald Trump back to the White House because, as our next guest says, the money matters. The new polling out today shows that Donald Trump has done little to address the very thing that won him the presidency a second time. According to AP NORC polling, 54% of Americans say that grocery costs are a major source of stress. That stress that voters
because
are
the
feeling
previous
does not appear to be
presidency caused insane inflation, right? Question mark?
Donald Trump's priority, as we just discussed, and Senator Elizabeth Warren points out, quote, "Oh, you're trying to say the cost of living is skyrocketing? Donald Trump can't hear you over the sound of bulldozers demolishing a wing of the White House to build a new grand ballroom." Joining me at the table, actor, musician, Michigander,
I mean, to be fair,
my friend Jeff Daniels.
he paid for
Thank
it himself and with donors, so it's not like...
How's it feel out there? I feel like that's always my question on and off TV.
Okay. I enjoy this actor. He's funny. And he's a good actor. I cannot get... What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to alter my view of him just depending on his viewpoint. This is MSNBC, so I just got to warn myself.
The No Kings protest, aside from the 8 million plus people that actually did,
I don't think it was 8. I don't think it was 8 million, but keep going.
Brought attention to what's going on. To the people who have checked out, who just can't deal with it. It's too much every day. I talk about when we did Newsroom, the Aaron Sorkin show. If we were to be still doing that now, we couldn't keep up. And you know, even today, there's this, that, the other thing that the White House and this administration is doing, and people just go, ah. But I think that those who voted for him because they didn't want Kamala Harris or don't like Democrats, never voted for Democrats ever, are paying attention if things cost more. And that was one of the things he promised, like any president promised. You know, I'm going to lower prices.
I mean, to be fair, every president does say that, but the last president we had really is the one that kind of caused the issue, perchance. At least the stock market's doing well right now, so kids, invest in the stock market. Don't be like your other loser friends. Be like the rich guys that make money when the stocks go higher. There's your PSA.
So if he does, great. He's a hero come the midterms. But if he doesn't, they're going to notice that. And it's not the people on the right who are going to stay with him, but it's the people who went with him because he promised that he'd make their lives better. And if they aren't better, he'll be, and the Congress and the Republicans in Congress will be like any other political party that didn't deliver.
It's interesting. We've talked a lot about decency.
Let's be honest,
and the
most
lack
parties
of
don't deliver, so
coming from the guy in the Oval Office. And I think what has been explained over the last 9 years is that a lot of voters were willing to sacrifice decency and norms and traditions because they felt a little bit better about their economy. Either they thought his wealth was contagious, or they just thought because he was so wealthy, or they perceived him to be wealthy and successful, that he could scale that. When that goes away, I mean, there's a story in the New York Times today about records number of people defaulting
we're not going
on their
anywhere.
car loans. Most people need their car to go to work. There's
Really?
a housing crisis in this country. Groceries are more expensive, not less expensive.
groceries are definitely expensive. Can't even deny that. The housing crisis, I will die on this marshmallowy hill. The housing crisis is due to lack of zoning re-regulation. We live in a world where these boomers created zoning in the 60s that were so, the minimum lot sizes were so high, and mandating single family home areas. They built their houses on these tiny little postage stamps, and then they bumped up on a quarter acre, and now there's the minimum single family lot size is an acre or half an acre. It's like just double your densities on every zone and all across the board, and your housing crisis is gone. It's such an easy solution to get started and work on for the housing crisis that just all these boomers don't want to lose their value in their house, even though the value would go up because if they can now build 2 houses on their lot, their value goes up. So it just doesn't make any sense. This can't wait till these boomers get out of power. It's just going to be, well, it'll probably be just the next losers come in, but still.
And you see windows into even Donald Trump talking about the price of beef. I mean, that is real. That is undeniable. And that is getting worse.
Beef is high.
Do you think
beef is high.
Decency remains a luxury for people? Or do you think decency comes into focus when they realize that he hasn't made their economies better?
I would like to think that things like decency and civility and respect for the rule of law and respect for things that are bigger than you, including the office of the presidency, which is different than a monarchy, will matter. First, it will be about the economy. It always is. Carville was right. It just is. And that's okay. But I think then people will start to go, well, maybe it wasn't worth it. And by the way, do we really have to treat people like that? You know, the meme that he had where he was flying with the crown and the, you know.
It's because you guys doing this is a joke to begin with. That's the whole point. That's the joke he's making. You guys are a joke because, not you guys, but like those specific people he's making fun of are a joke. So he's returning the favor with a joke. That's the joke that no one seems to be getting on their side, whoever they are. But that's the whole point. And this guy acts all humble and trying to be the voice of reason, and yet he's the one calling the president that was elected by the majority of the United States a king. It's just blows my mind.
Excrement all over the people down below.
The country, America.
Yeah, he tried it. Would Lincoln have done that?
Lincoln took away liberties from ordinary citizens. He's the one that spew fact about Lincoln here. Insert fact about Lincoln here. I mean, just because we have a starry-eyed view of Lincoln, which I totally agree with, by the way, doesn't mean he didn't do things that made him feel like a king because he definitely took executive powers to, I can't remember what it was. What did he do? He took some serious executive powers, and like there was no election or something. What was it? I can't remember. But you want to talk about being a king? Lincoln, during the Civil War, took measures to save the country that would have seemed to this gentleman like it was something a king would do.
I don't think Nixon would have done that.
Nixon wouldn't have done it. You know, Reagan wouldn't have done it. Bush wouldn't have done it. Either Bush. You know, it just, you know, I think people in the Midwest, where I am, still have this, we value our decency and our civility, and you know, we don't get taken with whatever goes on the coasts. You know, we got a chip on our shoulder about that. And I think it matters. It may not matter right away when you're voting, but down the road, if he doesn't deliver on the economy like he promised he would, then that stuff will start to add up, and they'll get tired of it, and they'll vote for change, which is what they always do.
It is crazy. We have only had
always changing.
Was
I was
it
thinking about
10 months now? It hasn't even been a year.
I started listening to Led Zeppelin, and my dad was going, "What the hell is that?" You know, I mean, it changes. Every generation changes things, and we're in a place now where they want to change it back to whatever that was. And I don't think people are as afraid of change. And we'll find out at midterms, but I don't think they're afraid of change. I think they wanted things to get solved, economically, but I think when it comes to decency and civility and respect for the rule of law, which governs all of us, whether we're left or right, will matter again.
You played Jim Comey, and Jim Comey, I think, is the first political prosecution. Donald Trump had him indicted via social media post. Pam, hurry up and do it. I think they went through 2, 3, 4 people from an office that fled because the facts weren't there, but they found somebody. They found their gal, and Lindsay Halligan. Those facts are known, but I wonder if there was anything about Comey's response. He issues a video that says, "I'm not afraid, and let's have a trial." It seemed like it seemed like a line that you could deliver as Comey. It seemed like a very Comey response. I wonder if you have as much confidence as he does.
Seems like a very Comey response. What the heck does that even mean?
Political prosecution.
I got to play him in the Comey role, and one of the things I learned about him was his the sacredness of the rule of law. And one person I talked to described him as a Boy Scout when it came to that kind of thing. And you can argue that he handled the Hillary announcement in the summer wrong, but come that fall and the month leading up to it, there were some things that happened that weren't his fault, and he took the blame for it. And I always respected him for handling that the way he did when he was basically hammered. And even now, with this kind of retribution campaign, and he's the star of the first one, he did something that Trump hasn't done. He said, let's go to court.
Yeah.
I'm innocent. Let's go to court. Trump's always been, whether it was the Mar-a-Lago classified documents or go down a long list of stuff, he'd delay, he'd appeal, he'd do that, all the lawyer, magic tricks he could do. Comey said, no, let's go. I mean, I've always thought that if Trump were that innocent of some of this stuff, he'd go, let's go to court on Monday, and could you do it at 10? Because I'm going to schedule a tea time at 3, because this will be dismissed in half an hour, because I'm innocent.
He never wanted to face the evidence or the facts or jury.
But Jim will do it. Jim will do it, and that tells me that he's going.
I can't listen to this because it's just so exhausting when people just lie out of their butt. This fine gentleman, my opinion has not changed of this guy's acting career, but that's what he is. He's an actor. So why am I giving a crap what this actor has to talk about? This doesn't make any sense to me. You're half of the dumb. I don't know if you're dumb or you're dumber, but it's just get some perspective in life. That's all I gotta say. And he was great on the Manning cast. I fully enjoyed that. I like the Manning cast. I think he was great. Didn't Trump have a speech today or something? Any video suggestions? Let's see what the comments have to say. Making a ballroom and golfing. I'm sensing a Cinderella ball. Supreme Court. I can really believe that a man who decorated the entire office in gold cares one bit about grocery prices. How many times do you think Trump has been in a grocery store in his entire life? He's literally suing American people. Does that sound like someone who cares about your expenses? When was the last time? I mean, you just can't make this up. When was the last time Biden went into a grocery store? It just doesn't, like, these arguments don't hold up. I think I I would actually think. Well, I don't think either of them know. So like, what's the point here? Half the Congress people don't know because they're all rich. Funny. They're all bots. I want to watch his conference. Talk about using the court system. They use the court system all the time.
We saw that he signed a number of documents now. I'm going to be greeting Senate Republicans. Let's listen in.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much.
Hello. This is... Hello. I'm President MisterMarshyyy. You can call me Marshy. Today is going to be a huge day. We're starting off with the construction of a beautiful big ballroom. It's going to hold at least tens of people. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I want to talk to you today about how huge it's going to be. Okay.
Thank you. What a friendly group this is. No Democrats are here, right?
That.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This has been a labor of love. You know, we took over a building that was not properly taken care of. It just wasn't. It's a very special building, and we are taking care of it. This was grass, and when you have a news conference, and this was going on for many years, but everybody would just sink into the mud. It was extremely luxurious grass, especially when it was raining, because you'd go down about 5 inches into the mud. And when we had a press conference here, all the press standing back there, they'd be cursing me. The women would be lifting up their shoes, saying, "You've destroyed my shoes. This is terrible." So we got a stone that's the exact same stone and color as the White House itself, because we wanted the friendly feeling of that light color. And it reflects the sun, and it keeps you cool even in the summer. And we've had press conferences. We finished it about a month ago. This is, as you see over here, the Presidential Walk of Fame. And we had this long wall with half windows because that used to be a swimming pool on the other side of the wall. That was the swimming pool where Jackie would say, "I hear women inside." Are women inside? Quite a famous, I'm not saying anything, this was a part of a movie. And the Secret Service said, "No, ma'am, there's no women inside, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're going to have to move along." "But I hear women inside." "No, ma'am, you'll have to move along, ma'am." So that was the famous swimming pool. Now it's even worse. It's for the media. They covered the pool up.
The media pool.
They covered the pool up, and now it's for the media. And I think we have a small representative group. I don't think they allowed the rest of them. I can't believe it. What happened? They're all on the other side of the wall. Can you believe it? Because this is supposed to be sort of a private event. And there is no such thing in politics as a private event. Lindsey, you learned that a long time ago, right? The great Lindsey Graham. Doing fantastic. You're up 34 points, Lindsey. That's not bad, I'll tell you. It's not bad. So we did the Presidential Walk of Fame from the great George Washington all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me. So he's less than great, less than George. Somebody went up there, they say, "You're the third best president in the United States." This was on television, third best. And they said, "Who are the first two?" "George Washington and Abraham Lincoln." And I got extremely angry at this man. You know, you can't. It's going to be tough to beat, Mr. Senator. It's going to be, John. It's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln, but we're going to give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming. All right, we put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming. Believe it or not.
Not gonna lie, sometimes it's really hard to watch him. it's just very exhausting. So you skip around, but I'm gonna stick through this one.
So I just want to say it's great to be with you. And when we're finished later on, we're going to have a little quick lunch, and they do great food at the White House. And this is used sometimes for evening, where we've had some incredible people for the evening, and some of the big foreign leaders have been coming. And most excitingly, on the other side, you see the fence and the wall. We're building a world-class ballroom. You know, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here. We don't have a ballroom. We have a little cocktail area, but we don't have a ballroom. The East Room, it's called, is a very small cocktail area. It holds about 88 people if it's tight. And I said, if I do this again, I'm going to get a ballroom built, and we're putting up our own money. With the government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, it reminds me of money. In this case, it reminds me of lack of money because I'm paying for it, so it's the opposite. But it's going to be one of the most beautiful ballrooms anywhere in the world, and it's going to be able to take care of tremendous things. When you have, as an example, I'm going to see President Xi in 2 weeks. I'm going over to South Korea. We're going to meet in South Korea. We're going to talk about a lot of things. They want to discuss the fact that they're paying 157% tariff. It's a little higher than they thought. And we're doing very well. I think we're going to do well in that negotiation. We've done well, as you know, with Japan, with South Korea, with Europe. The European nations got together. We made a deal. And it was all based without the tariffs. You could have never made the deal. I'll tell you what, tariffs equal national security. Remember that. Tariffs equal national security. You got to remember that. And they also equal wealth for our nation, because we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in a very friendly manner, given to us by nations that used to take it from us. And they used tariffs on us. We never used it on them because we were foolish, or we were led by people that weren't business people. But it really does. It equals national security. And I wouldn't have put out, I mentioned 8 wars, 9 coming. Of the 8, 5 were based solely on trade and tariffs. India, Pakistan were going at it. 2 nuclear powers, and serious nuclear. 7 planes shot down. They were ready to go, and I called them up. I said, you go to war, and we're not doing a trade deal. And they said, well, what does one thing have to do with the other? I said, it has a lot. You're nuclear powers, and if you do it, we're not doing a trade deal. And 24 hours later, they called me, we have decided not to do it. We stopped the war. We stopped a potential disaster, a nuclear disaster, because of trade. And it's been really amazing.
It's pretty crazy. You think about that. It's like Canada going to war with us. It's just so crazy to think that in the world there's so many countries that have their next door neighbors as their biggest enemy, and we really lucked out having some of our, I wouldn't say one of our greatest allies, and then down south is what? Down south is somebody we tolerate. I think we tolerate with all their mayhem down there. So keep going.
Amazing, but the tariffs have made us a wealthy country. They've given us tremendous defense. They've given us things that we can do for other countries, very positive. But again, really, it's national security, it's national defense, and they are so important. And it's incredible that presidents, for the most part, didn't know how to use them, when to use them. If you go back, you'll see some of the presidents that were the most successful were believers in tariffs. And I even see foreign countries now that we are doing very well with taking ads. Don't go with tariffs. They're taking ads. I saw an ad last night from Canada. If I was Canada, I'd take that same ad also. But they're actually on television taking ads. But I do believe that everybody's too smart for that. We have a very, very big and important case coming up. We should win the case based on the legal merit. We should also win the case based on all of the things I just said. But we're a wealthy country again. Last week, as you know, they found $31 billion. They came to see me, sir. We found $31 billion. They said, we don't know why. I said, was this a good find or a bad find? It was a good find. It was a plus 31. We're used to finding negative.
Imagine finding $31 billion in your couch. Hey, found I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom.
Negative 31s, right, for the last 30 years. I said, check the tariff shelf. Well, those tariffs haven't kicked in. Yes, they did. They kicked in 2 months ago. Check it. He comes back 2 hours later. Sir, you were right. We have an additional $31 billion, billion, not million, Lindsay, billion, that we just found from tariffs. They kicked in earlier than we thought. You were right. We're a wealthy nation again, and we're a nation that can be secure. We're a nation that can start paying down our debt. And with tariffs, we're the wealthiest nation ever in.
Now, I disagree. We are severely in debt, and we're in a deficit still, and we just spent, what is it, something $1 trillion. So that's where I disagree. I think next year's budget should be not in a deficit. I think that would be, if he could do that, he's serious about the Doge cuts, I would be a lot less disappointed. Let's just say that. I think that would be a miracle.
The history of the world. Without them, we've got to slog. We've got to slog. But remember this, other nations, including China, Japan, European nations, they used tariffs against us for many years. That's why we owe $37 trillion. That's why. But they used tariffs very successfully against us, and we had presidents that never fought it. But now you have a president that does fight it. So I just want to welcome you to the incredible Rose Garden. It's just an incredible place. It was done, we did it, brought it back to health. It was in very bad shape, actually, and we brought it back to health. First Lady Melania did a fantastic job on it. The surrounds and everything, it's all brand new wiring. You know, underneath there's a lot of wire, a lot of things. Everything brand new, everything beautiful. The only thing we did is we had to get a hard surface here because nobody could use it because of the grass. So I just want to welcome you, and I hope you're going to be here a lot. We're going to use it for meetings. We're going to use it for press conferences. Now we can use it. It was unusable before, and now we can use it. But everything that you see was redone. All of this was redone, and the whole White House is being redone. Some of you came through they call the Rose Hall. They call it different names, but you probably noticed. I don't know if you came through this door. Did you notice
we're
the
only
white
10
marble
minutes
floor
in.
that
That's
was put
crazy.
there? That was made out of Home Depot tiles, about 1 foot by 1 foot. They were all broken, about 30 years old, and I replaced it with
Nothing wrong with Home
matched
Depot.
marble, paid for by your friend President Trump. It's like it's amazing how people like it when you say you paid for it. When I say I paid for it, they say, "Oh, I love it." But they did a beautiful job. They're great talents. They're very talented marble people I have, and they replaced it with beautiful
I want to skip
marble
so bad. I want to
statuary marble, and it's really, really beautiful.
Skip ahead,
I
not
want to
skip
thank
everything.
the outstanding leadership team, and you really do have that. Majority Leader John Thune, who's been my friend, he really has done an amazing job. Thank you, John. Thank you. Done an amazing job. I didn't get to know John as well in the first term, and I've gotten to know him very well over the last 9 months, John, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Really great. Majority Whip John Barrasso, who's outstanding man. Thank you, John. Thank you. Great guy, too. Conference Chair Tom Cotton. He loves that military. He loves it. He loves the military. Policy Committee Chair Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley, thank you very much, Shelley. Vice Chair James Langford. Very good, James, thank you. And you know, we have everybody but one person here. You know, everybody showed up. I figured you'd have like, I'd say 40 would have been a good number, right? If everybody, we're just missing one person. You'll never guess who that is. Let me give you, he automatically votes no on everything. He thinks it's good politics. It's really not good politics. He's an automatic no. But I don't know. Look, if he wanted to come, I'd probably let him come, right? I'd let him come. Begrudgingly, but would let him come. And National Republican Senatorial Committee Chair, an unbelievable guy, Tim Scott.
Who's he talking about?
Tim,
Who was he talking about? I have no idea.
I shouldn't say it because it's so, I don't know if it's going to be. But Tim ran, and he was very effective and very good. But he was on the debate stage and everything else, he was good just because he's good. But he wasn't as good as they thought he was. And when he got out of the race, he endorsed me almost immediately. And I used him as a surrogate. And I wasn't sure if I should because...
And I used him as a surrogate. It was... We had a surrogate with him. It was a surrogate.
You know, sometimes I want a total lunatic to get up and fight for me. And Tim is a really good person. So I wasn't sure. And I put him on the stage, and he ripped the heart out of everybody. He was so brutal. He was so unbelievable. It turned out to be absolutely one of my best surrogates. And it includes a lot of you people that were here. You were all surrogates. But Tim ripped these people apart. And after watching 2 or 3 times, then I wanted him all the time, right, Susie? I said, I want Tim Scott, get up there. But he was so good. And I said to him, Tim, when you fought for yourself, you were much different. When you fought for me, you were a tiger. You were like unstoppable. You were, really was. You all saw that. What's the difference? He said, I've never liked selling myself. And I love selling somebody that I really do believe in. I really believe in you. And I just felt that way. And it was so nice the way he expressed it. And I want to tell you, you are a champion. You are a winner, and congratulations. Thank you very much. I never love telling that story because I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad story, but I'm telling you, you are an amazing guy, and you fought for me so hard, and I really appreciate it. You got to be my #1 choice, Tim. So something happened. I appreciate it. And you're doing great doing what you're doing right now. I also want to thank the entire Senate Republican Conference for your tremendous work on confirmations. Boy, did we have a couple of weeks, huh? We had some, I signed like 150 of them, and I didn't use an auto pen, by the way, I signed. You know, when you're signing these important, like a general getting approved from 3-star to 4-star and all of these different things and big confirmations and, you know, big stuff, you really have an obligation to actually sign it, I think. You probably noticed right there, number 46, we put up, right? We put up a little bit of an auto pen. We have 46, we have 45, we have 47. It's very interesting. Yeah, 46 is an auto pen. It's up there. It stays up there. People like it. It's probably going to stay up there for a long time. It's true. And I know you're looking into that. And by the way, the auto pen person said he never spoke to Biden. He worked the auto pen. You're not allowed to do that. So if you're looking at anything, just remember it. And remember, they treated us very badly. They treated us very, very badly. So I think you're allowed to.
He always turns into like a rant about something. So he starts like happy, and then he just turns into like some rant about how they did him wrong.
To just report the truth, including the confirming of my cabinet much faster than first time. I mean, we went so fast, and I give John Thune and all of you credit for that. It was amazing. All of a sudden, I was calling John, I've got to get him approved. Come on, John, because I was getting like one every 2 weeks. And you know, I had people, they left their job and they left everything, and it looked like they were, all of a sudden, it was like an avalanche. They walked in, James and James, my double James, I call them. They walk in and they had like so many of them. I said, you got to be kidding. Is this like, are you for real, right, James? John Thune did his job, and you got them all done, and you have all those people out there working now, and instead of being very upset with the fact that we couldn't get them approved quickly. So I really appreciate it. You used a method that I wish you could use on U.S. attorneys. You know, I have 10 U.S. attorneys who are phenomenal. A Harvard, a Yale, a this, a that, all top. And the problem is they're not going to ever be confirmed, I guess. I put them in. They'll be there for 3 or 4 months, whatever, and then they have to leave. Because anytime you have, as you know, anytime you have a Democrat senator, not even 2, just 1, they'll say because of the time we're in, we're not approving that person. We're not approving. They never do. They won't approve. And therefore, because of blue slip, I have to tell the person after 3 months, I'm sorry, you'll have to leave. And I put somebody else in. And I've had Democrat senators say the only one we'll ever approve is a Democrat. This is not constitutional. And you really, I hope you can look at that blue slip thing, because I have 10 people that are phenomenal, and they're going to have to leave office. Highly educated, top of their class, everything. And they're going to have a mark on their career that they were a U.S. attorney for 3 months or 4 months, and then they had to leave. And that's so unfair. It's unfair to the public, because the public voted for me in a landslide, and I'm supposed to be picking the U.S. attorneys. And this goes for judges also. But actually more so even for the U.S. attorney with the blue slip. So I have these phenomenal people, many of them young, but truly fantastic people. And they're wondering what's going to happen in another 3, 4, 5 weeks. They're going to have to leave office. I think it's a shame, and I hope you can do something about it, because I'd like to tell those people, you know, we put you there, and you're not going to have on your resume for the rest of your life, you were there for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and you left like you got canned. So I hope you look at that. Very important. And after your pivotal changes to the Senate rules last month, as a result, this is what you did, the unprecedented obstruction by the Democrats. We've confirmed more than 175 public servants, people that are phenomenal, to keep posts, and that's just been over the last couple of weeks. It's an unbelievable thing what you've done, John, all of you together. So working closely with me in House Majority, the Republican Senate also gave us the largest working class tax cut in American history, and you passed the Laken-Riley Act to throw illegal alien criminals out of our country. You passed the Genius Act and the Take It Down Act with the support of our wonderful First Lady. She got, by the way, she got actual support from the other side. It was bipartisan. I think Rand didn't vote for it again. But
Oh, that's what it was. Rand
it was
Paul.
only Rand.
Paul.
We had bipartisan support other than maybe Rand. But another one I'm going to ask you to vote for, and it's in the House now, and I hear it's doing well in the House, James. It's Kate's Law. A young lady named Kate Steinle, I remember it so well, probably 8 or 10 years ago now in San Francisco. She was holding hands with her father on the San Francisco pier, looking out into the water. This beautiful, everything was beautiful, but the person wasn't beautiful that did this. And this was an illegal alien that came into our country 5 times, was thrown out 4 or 5 times, I don't even know, but a lot, and came back and shot her through the head. And she went down and she looked at her father, Daddy, Daddy, something happened, and she immediately passed away in his arm. And I mean, you can imagine, it was so sad, such
That's
a
terrible.
beautiful, beautiful person. Father was destroyed, you know, virtually destroyed. And they passed they wanted to pass what they call Kate's Law, And it's now, again, in Congress, and I hear we're going to get it passed in Congress. And when it gets up to the Senate, I hope you guys can pass it. And basically, very simply, it says that if you're an illegal alien and you come in and you get thrown out, if you come back and get caught, you have to spend 10 years in jail. Very simple. Very simple.
I mean, that's...
If they would have had that, Kate
Yes.
Steinle would be alive today. That was a big event at the time.
I'm all for that. That is huge. They should get the jail time the first time they get caught being here illegal, but that's huge.
If you remember Bill O'Reilly, for those of you that like Bill, I think I like Bill, but he was the one, he devoted his life to that law, trying to get it passed. I think it's time that we pass it, so that if you get taken out of the country and you come back illegally, knowing that this law is in existence, you go to jail for a 10-year period, and it's going to keep the repeat offenders from coming in. It's going to really keep them from coming in. Senate Republicans have already voted 11 times to get our government back and open for business. We have record business. We're going to be, I think, by the time I had my, I hit month number 12, I think we're going to have $20 trillion of investment. We're over 17 right now.
Wow.
As an example, President Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're going to have $20
Is that real?
trillion in less
There's no way that's real. That's actually crazy.
than 12 months, and we're over 17 trillion right now. So it's the largest amount in our country by far, by many times.
$20 trillion?
But here's the one. It's the largest amount in the history of the world. There's never been a country that's had anywhere near 17, or it will be 20. And
To be fair, I'll wait and see until this money actually hits the shores. I don't know how much of this money has actually already been spent on stuff, but if $20 trillion gets spent next year, the economy is going to skyrocket north, and you should definitely be in the stock market. Unless we have a stock market collapse for some reason, but those are the risks you take.
it's going up fast. A lot of it's because of tariffs, because they're coming in because they don't want to pay tariffs. In other words, they make their product in a certain country and they used to just send it in here and there was no charge. Absolutely. Now, if they have to pay a 20%, 30%, 50%, 100%, or 2% tariff, they say, well, it's better if I build my plant in the United States. It always amazed me I did this first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in first term. We had COVID, and we did a good job with that. That was a curse for every country in the world. It was terrible. But we had the greatest economy we ever had. But if you remember, I started the tariffs, but I held it off because it wouldn't have exactly been good at the time to tell France, you know what they were going through, you know what Spain was going through and Italy was going through, that, by the way, we're going to charge you tariffs. But I had started the process. We were going, the country was doing good, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I put the full tariffs on China. Biden left the tariffs because he couldn't, it was too much money, but they gave so many exceptions that they were essentially meaningless. In other words, here's the tariffs, but you don't have to pay if you look at somebody the wrong way. You don't have to pay. So they didn't pay very much. But with me, they were paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And again, I have a great relationship with President Xi. I expect to be able to make a good deal with him. And I want him to make a good deal for China. But it's got to be fair. For years, they were making $500, $600, $700 billion. $700 billion, and we'd be making nothing. It was a one-sided, honestly, we built their military. We built China's military with the money that we lost for so many years getting ripped off. So now we're going to have a fair deal. I think we're going to have a very successful meeting. Certainly there are a lot of people that are waiting for it. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't happen. Things can happen where, for instance, maybe somebody will say, I don't want to meet, it's too nasty. But it's really not nasty, it's just business, and we're going to We're going to do a good job representing you people and representing the people of our country. Unfortunately, in a craven and pointless act of partisan spite, Chuck Schumer, who I've known for a long time, and the radical left Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage to appease the extremists.
And he goes right
in their
back to reading the
party.
script.
And they are extreme. I mean, I've never seen anything
Now he's
like
ad-libbing.
it. They're
And they are
And
extreme.
you know what? We had a landslide election. We won the popular vote by a lot. We won the swing states, all 7. Remember, they said, oh, if Trump could get 3 swing states, he'd be. And, well, I didn't get 3, I got 7. We got all 7 by a lot, by record numbers. We won the Electoral College, 312 votes. They said it's very hard for a Republican. It's harder for a Republican, although now I think we've swapped it. I think it's now hard.
I will say, I think he kind of lucked out having Kamala as his opponent, because that wasn't much of a fight. Let's just say it. Let's just put it that way.
Harder for a Democrat, because if you see what we've done with the Hispanics, with the black workers and black men, and recently a poll came out with black men and women were doing so well. You know, they want security. They don't want to have their city destroyed. Women in Chicago, beautiful black women walking around with red MAGA hats because they don't want to be mugged and shot and everything else. And then you see a Democrat get up and tell you how safe it is in Chicago. You know, they've had, in a fairly short period of time, 4,000 murders. This is over a short period of time. 4,000 murders. And they had a holiday where they had 28 people killed and almost 100 shot. And then you listen to this guy, Pritzker. I've known the family for a long time. They threw him out because he was no good, and he became governor. He's got money through the family. He's got money through the family. But they threw him out, he became governor. I said, I wonder how he's going to do.
Yeah, I kind of do believe he did know the family. That's kind of funny.
It's a crime palace. It's a shame. And you know what we did in D.C. is unbelievable. You people, you can walk down the middle of the street, Mr. Senator. You can walk down. You can have your wife meet you at the restaurant, and she's not going to be accosted, shot, beat up, raped. It's unbelievable how bad it was. It was one of the worst in the country, and now it's stone cold. I don't say the word perfect, but it's pretty damn close. And, you know, they would average more than a murder a week in Washington, D.C.
That's crazy.
This is just before we got here, a murder a week. Think of that. The capital of, in my opinion, the capital of the world. They come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come from Florida. You call up the parents, I'm sorry, sir, your son has been shot and killed. We have no crime here now. We have no crime. And the National Guard has been unbelievable, the job. Unbelievable. And you know, it also looks better. I do a tour. I hop in that beast. I feel very safe in the beast. The windows are this thick. But I hop in the beast and I tell the Secret Service, let's drive around town. I used to do that myself. I could drive myself around. I actually like that better. But now I don't think it's a good idea. But we drive around in the streets. The place is looking much, the grass is good, the fences are down, there's no tents, there's no anything. We are looking like it's just a whole new look, and the most important thing, there's no crime.
A whole new world.
And we're going to fix the roads. We have great pavers. We're going to fix the medians in between the roads, which are half of them are falling down. We're going to take some of the tiles off the bridges, the tunnels that you have. They've been up for 40 years. They're rotted. And we'll put up brand new, gorgeous white tiles like it's supposed to be. But this place is looking really good, and we haven't even started the real fixing up of the town. We're getting rid of the graffiti. You notice there's almost no graffiti anymore. A lot of that beautiful statuary marble had red graffiti all over it, had bad signs up, and it stopped. We've taken out 1,700 career criminals and people that came in through an open border. They came in through Biden's open border.
Gosh, he loves talking.
And we've taken them out. The thing having to do with all of the elements in the great, big, beautiful bill, I'll tell you, it's amazing what we've done. $200 billion in in costs for medical. What we've done, $50 billion for rural hospitals. And remember, no tax on tips. No tax on
tips.
Social Security, no tax on... Think of all of these things that we've done. This is the biggest, this is the greatest bill. Social Security, no tax on overtime, but no tax on tips. I got that from a waitress in Nevada. I was making a speech, and I'm at one of my restaurants in the hotel I own there, and I say, how are you doing? Well, sir, it's terrible. They're taxing my tips. They're going, I wouldn't have even thought that. And I looked at it, and she said to me, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it one time more. No tax on tips. I walked outside to the press. I said, there will be no tax on tips.
I really hope that's a true story, because that's kind of hilarious. That's like, he's so off the cuff and just doesn't even know how it's going to work, and just has no tax on tips.
She was right. And we won that state by a lot. That's not a state that we win by that much, David, but we won it by a lot. So it was pretty good. But that bill is chock full of so many different things. So it was the biggest bill. I'm actually saying this to the fake news so that they maybe print it, but maybe not, because you people know. It was the biggest bill ever passed in Congress. And what we did was a little risky. We put everything into the bill, John, right? And some people were against it. They said, no, you got to do small bites. And we gave it a shot, and we got it passed. I got a call from John. He said, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Sir, we have 4 hard no's. Could you please call him? I said, what time is it, John? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, sir. So I call up. One of you is sitting right here.
Called him out.
I said, Jim, could I
calling
say
you
hello
out
to you? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? He said, sir, you have my vote. I said, wow. Then I called up another person. I'll use fictitious names. Doug, could I get your vote? You've got it, sir. Then I called up another one. How about Josh? Could I have your vote, Josh? Because I like Josh. And Josh, who can be very difficult, said, sir, you have my vote. His wife was screaming at him on the other side. Sir, you have my vote. But I called people, and they weren't really hard-nosed. They wanted a little attention, unfortunately, at 4 in the morning. Sometimes I like the ones
just called him out, just a little attention, dude.
that don't like the attention, but we'll take it anywhere we can. And we got it passed, right, John? And nobody thought that could happen, because you have a small majority. And in the how about in the House, we had a majority of 3. We actually went down after that for a period of about 2 months. We went down to a majority in the House of 1. And I kept saying, you know, because I'll tell you, Mike Johnson's great. The team, these 2 teams, did you ever see 2 people more different? One's tall, one's slightly less tall. We want to be polite. They are very different people, but they're the same in terms of talent. They did an
One's tall, one's huge, and one's a little gay.
The 2 guys, and they get along incredibly well. We all do. We get along great. But we passed a bill. We don't need to pass any more bills. We got everything in that bill. There's nothing else we have to put. We got the largest tax cuts in history. We got the extension of the Trump tax cuts. We got all of these things. And, you know, remember, they lie. They will look at I saw it the other day, they were talking about, I call it the great big beautiful bill, but that's what it is, the great big beautiful, the biggest bill ever passed. And what they say, they make up stories. And I saw they were interviewing a senator, and they said, well, what's wrong with their bill? He didn't know what to say, because there's nothing he could say. It covers everything. He said, death. It brings death. Now, if I'm a regular person and I hear that, I say, oh, that's terrible. But it's just the opposite. It brings life. It brings Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. It secures all those things. And they just are so bad. You know, they said death. It was like death. And there's nothing about death. Theirs is death, because they're going to lose Medicaid. They're going to lose Social Security. They're going to lose Medicare. All of those things are going to be gone, because the whole country would be bankrupt, and you're not going to have any kind of medical insurance. So with us, it's the opposite. And it's a great bill. We don't need any more. And I want to just say, from the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean, bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now.
Yep, I'd agree.
We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything. Car plants are pouring back into our country. AI plants, we're leading, we're dominating China right now in AI. And I did something that I think you'd like, because we have an old grid. It's a tired grid. It doesn't have the juice that you need to fire up these plants. You know, these plants will need more than double the energy we have right now for the whole country. That's how big it is. And we can't do that. There's no way we can do that. China's building right now 52 power stations. But I did something better. I'm letting everybody build their own power plant, so they'll become like an electric utility in addition to AI. But if they want to build their own plant and we get their approvals within less than a month, it used to take 5 years prior to rejection. Sometimes a guy in Louisiana, they had one that took 12 years and then they got rejected. I got it approved in 2 weeks when I got into office. That was the first term. And the plant is up now, and it's been a great thing for the state. I did it twice, actually. I got 2 of them that were dead after 12 years, and I got them approved, both of them, in less than a week. And that's what we're doing. Lee Zeldin, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job, Environmental Commissioner, I have to tell you. He knows that we have to get them fast, and we're getting them fast. So we're leading China in the AI race by a lot. Under Biden, Democrats voted 13 times for continuing resolutions to keep the government open. And all we want is simply to ask them to do it once again. They always voted for it. They never voted against it. Nobody votes against it. But they do that, and they do. It's partially my fault. I mean, I'm watching you, and I'm looking at all these great faces that I've seen, really great people. I think with few exceptions, a couple of you I don't like that much, but with few exceptions, great people. And you look at what...
That's so funny. What the heck? Why do you just don't say that in front of them?
They do, and you look at the game they play, and it's a horrible game. And, you know, we have the hottest country ever. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I say this, I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I was over in the Middle East, and the King of Saudi Arabia and others also said essentially the same thing. They said, you know, President, a year and a half ago, your country was dead. We never thought we'd see this. And right now, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world, which tells you about leadership, and that includes your leadership. So as you know, my door is always open to anyone. It's not like that AOC. How about her, where she said, she's talking about having rebellions and everything. She said, well, my door is always open. But she's not the leader. I'm sure the leaders felt very nicely about when she said her door is open. Who the hell wants to go into her door anyway? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's the one that started. You know, I remember, I'll never forget, she never took a course on the environment. And I watched her one day, and she was on television. She said, yes, our planet will be dead within 12 years. That was a long time ago. Our planet was supposed to be dead. Remember the 12-year theory? We were environmentally dead. Now, these people, they've got an agenda that nobody quite understands. The good news is they don't understand it either. They really have no idea. But the people do. The people understand. We're giving you the biggest tax cuts in history. All of these things, it all adds up that we should do fantastically well in the midterm. The only thing wrong with the midterms is that statistically, when you look, a president gets elected, and for some reason, and nobody, even the great John Thune, cannot explain to me, for some reason, even if he's a reasonably good president, and we've had success like nobody, but for some reason, you lose the midterms. I don't know why. I mean, the odds are tremendously against, like 92% or something. It doesn't make sense. If you have a great presidency, it only makes sense that you win the midterm. So there should be no reason for it. Somebody's going to explain there might be some...
It's probably on the side of, like, a natural checks and balances things, or people that would have voted if they were losing want to have more motivation to go vote. I think people get lazy when they've already won in last November, so they're like, they're not as motivated. But then if you lost, you're more motivated, so more of you go out and vote. So I think that's a theory.
Dark, deep psychological reason where they want to vote the opposite way. I don't know what it is, but we have to win the midterms. Otherwise, all of the things that we've done, so many of them are going to be taken away by the radical left lunatics. I mean, we're going to end up with a communist mayor in New York. Can you believe it? A communist. Remember, I would always say, we will not have a socialist elected in our country. Remember, I'd say that all the time. And I was right. We skipped socialist. We got a communist elected. So I didn't tell a lie. I didn't tell a lie. I was right. We'll have a communist, not a socialist. But we've already seen the impacts of the dangerous game that they're playing. Democrats are causing delays in our air traffic control system. So important. We wouldn't have had, there's Pete Buttigieg. He spent billions of dollars on fixing the air traffic control. They'd use copper wire going into glass wire. Any union electrician here or any non-union electrician would say you can't hook copper into glass. It doesn't work. They spent billions of dollars. They turned on the system, and it was stone cold blank. We're getting a brand new system. We have bids out now. We have 3 great companies bidding. And I want one bid. Sean Duffy's doing terrifically. I want one bid. I want just bid, and they're responsible for everything. Not where they had like 1,000 contractors. Every contractor, they were all running around. In the end, if one of them does a bad job, we want to be able to blame somebody, and it's going to be one of the very big companies because there's a lot of interest in it. So the air traffic control system is going to be rebuilt. Over 1 million federal workers right now, as you know, are going unpaid. That's the Democrats' fault. And children, tourists, unable to visit the museums in Washington, D.C., that we now have beautiful, safe streets, but we don't have the museums open. We should probably just open them. But we are doing things that nobody's ever done, nobody's ever seen. So all of this and the pain that the Democrats have caused during this reckless and completely
Gosh, this has been a struggle to sit through this. Oh my gosh.
You can call it the Schumer shutdown or the Democrat shutdown. You can call it whatever you want. And I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat
so he's Darth Sidious
priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it. And by the way, thank you. You're doing a great job, I have to tell you. So really a great job. Because many of the things that they're cutting, like the New York project, $20 billion we're cutting it, they're not going to get it back. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of things back. They may not get it back. Maybe we'll talk to them about it. But they're losing all the things that they wanted. But many of the things that they wanted are things that we don't want. Things that are just so bad for our country. And we're cutting those things out. So while they thought they were doing maybe bad, maybe indirectly they're doing good. The cynical comment that they've made all over the place, and all of their cynical remarks proves beyond all doubt that Schumer is a calculating political partisan, but we knew that. But he's somebody that's in deep trouble. He's losing in all of the polls. He's even losing to AOC +3. Remember +3?
126,000 people.
+3? Are they still around?
Down here.
I had one.
I wonder if that was real. That's a good number.
I met the president of Somalia, and I said, I have somebody I'd like to give back to you. He said, no thanks, we don't want her. He didn't want any.
No way. It's crazy. Oh my gosh. He just says these crazy things.
Thing to do with her. But today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back. In the greatest moment in the history of our country in terms of wealth, in terms of job creation, and in terms of investment coming in, these guys go on strike. It's really a shame. So I'm asking them to be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing. And with that, I just want to say welcome to the White House. When we're finished, they do a great job. When they're finished, we're going to all come in. It'll be a little crowded, but that's okay. Into the Oval Office, we'll talk a little bit, couple of minutes. Got some interesting things. And I think I'd like to have, if I could, John, come up and say a few words, and we can close it out. And by the way, this is an open mic. It's open to the world. I think they can hear me out on the street. If anybody wants to come up and say after John, say it. We're all friends, and you can speak your heart out. But we've got to get our government open, and the Democrats are trying to keep it closed. Thank you. John, please.
Thank you, sir. Well, Mr. President, thank you for having us. This is the 4th week of the Democrat shutdown, but we are all here today because your Republican team in the Senate is unified. This is now the long...
See, but now this guy, he sounds like a politician. That's what we're used to presidents sounding like, which is just hilarious to me.
Longest full shutdown in history, but everybody here has voted now 11 different times to open up the government, and we are going to keep voting to open up the government, and eventually the Democrats, hopefully sooner or later, are going to come around. But Mr. President, your agenda is the right one for this country. This is your team. We are your partners in achieving and implementing the agenda that you campaigned on and the American people voted for. And you just mentioned it has been a series of promises made and promises kept, whether it's national security, whether it's the border, whether it's the economy, taxes, regulations, energy, Trump newborn accounts, school choice. You look at what we've accomplished so far. It is a remarkable, remarkable team and a record of accomplishment that can't be matched. And I would argue, at least in my time here, but perhaps in all of history. So thank you for your leadership, and we will continue to be good partners and work with you to get the work done for the American people. And let's hope that the Democrats get wise and, starting perhaps even today, vote to reopen the government so we can get back to work for the American people. Mr. President, thank you for having us at your home. You have beautiful homes, and thank you for everything you're doing to make this such a beautiful place. This is America's house. We're delighted to be here. Thank you.
That was good. I like that. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Peace out.